man? How's it going? Welcome to another episode of the John Graves Show. And Batman vs. Robin, the animated movie. And I'm honestly watching this and I'm like, this probably should have been called The Court of Owls. Because for it to be called Batman vs. Robin, there really isn't a lot of Batman vs. Robin in this movie. It's more or less like just Damian just doing whatever the fuck Damian does in every single one of these movies in which that he's portrayed in. Of him being a fucking like ultra mega like League of Assassins member who is who pretty much that they give a lot of chances to fucking fight mostly older people, and for the most part it's like he wins, or it's like he gives them like a good run for their money, but I think mostly that they all hold back on him just so that he can, sort of get like a fair fight in. But pretty much this entire movie is the Court of Owls storyline. Cut down just a little bit, but still, even with all that though, they still leave it enough to where that you still get the major impression of what is going on in the story. And of course, the Court of Owls is this very, very, very prestigious and like rich like group of people who, or at least I believe that it's supposed to be a good chunk of the rich families and such that actually reside in Gotham. And of course, they actually want to regain their power and take over Gotham again so that they can bring it back up from wherever the fuck it is. Essentially do that whole noble cause of we want to get rid of all of the filth, but then again, that's sort of like a League of Shadows thing, except for doing whatever Ra's al Ghul is doing, but like they want to stay more hidden in the shadows. So that is something to sort of take into consideration. So that is pretty nice. However, what they do kind of falter at though is the fact that instead of them actually going after real criminals, they kind of start sending their people after Batman for reasons unknown to me. Well, probably because that they kind of think that he's coming in trying to take over their territory and step on their toes. But then again, Bruce Wayne isn't necessarily any better because, of course, even though that they all want Gotham to be better, like in the end, I do kind of understand where he's coming from though, because they are fucking filthy fuckers out there, man, like who do share the same mentality as the League of Shadows, and they want to fucking kill every single person out there who they fucking deem as a jaywalker. Kind of doing that whole punishment type of thing, which would bring a tear to the Punisher's eye, but that's pretty much just the story so far. In terms of like looking at our one and only actual villain of this thing, because the Court of Owls is actually a very scary organization of them saying that we have these super zombies who that we can send out and do and take out pretty much whoever in the fuck we want, which is also fucking cool. But on the off chance of that though, it's like, well, why do they want Damian? Or better yet, why does Talon want Damian? And the reason why he wants Damian is because, of course, he sees himself in that of saying, it's a kid who's out there who's doing pretty much like the same shit that I was doing when I was his age, except for my father was abusive and was a fucking thief, and I ratted him out, and then I went on to kill ever since. So that's kind of his life. Whereas Damian's thing is just that, we kind of already know that growing up as the grandson of Ra's al Ghul, and shit like that, and then pretty much going on from, and then pretty much doing whatever the fuck he was doing there, and then trying to deviate away from that because, he met his actual father, and he's trying to live up to his example. Yeah, that's fucking hard for him. And Talon really isn't making it easier because of course, Batman and Damian, or Bruce and Damian are kind of having like this whole little back and forth of Damian being, the little pissant and shit he is, and then going on of saying like that, like, I can't leave, I can't do this, I can't be out on my own because I don't have a life. But I see what Batman's saying though. It's like, I can't just fucking bring you out because I don't have the fucking paperwork to say that you are my son and shit like that. You know. Pretty much he doesn't have the official adoption papers set up to where that Damian can have an actual life outside of like Wayne Manor. So really that is something to take into consideration, you know. So that is the little dichotomy there of Batman trying to be a father, but you know, Damian really isn't making the shit easier. And it isn't until like at the end of the movie where Bruce actually just sort of just lets go and says, listen, fine, if you want a life, I can send you to this school and shit like that. But now that I actually kind of know Damian a little bit, I'm like, him actually being outside of that house really isn't a good thing. But then again, if he just learns like a few things, he should be fucking okay. Yeah. Now, there's a fine line to like what is going on like in the ass end of this review, and that is talking about like half the fight scenes in this series, or at least like in these movies. And the fight scenes are fucking amazing. There's something out there. There are something that I really hold like in high regard because of the very simple fact of that whatever in the fuck is going on in this series, or at least like the way how that they animate it looks really fucking amazing though. However, some of the hits they don't necessarily look like that they have a gigantic impact. But still, I will be fair though, at the last little bit of the film, it did kind of give me like a little bit of that whole like Bruce Wayne is getting fucking serious right now, because you're not fighting Batman no more. You are fighting Bruce Wayne, you know, because he did kind of fuck Talon up at the end. And as I said earlier, a lot of the fights with Damian really did kind of come off as though as that Damian was trying to hurt them, and they were trying to hurt back. And they really weren't trying to hurt him, or at least that's what it looked like with the whole Batman and Dick Grayson thing, or I mean, like with the Batman and the Nightwing fights, because those were just sort of like, well, no, we just let him get like some good hits in because we weren't really trying to hurt him. We were just sparring, you know. Even though Dick had to get just a little bit serious to fucking get him to actually like to get him to actually try harder. But other than that, though, Dick was kind of beating his ass. On the flip side of that, though, whenever he fought Talon just beat his ass straight up, you know, to the point, man, to where that he did just knock him off of his feet. Lastly, which did kind of make all the fights come off as cool, though. But lastly, though, talking about what they couldn't necessarily put into the adaptation, such as putting way more of the characters in there, talking about like say like having like Owlman go out and like actually attack Gotham and shit like that, actually watching the Owls sort of break apart, and talk about how like that most of the major members were actually sort of zombified like in the first place, which is why they did wear the masks and shit. All that kind of really wasn't explained in this. It was sort of like just laughed off and like threw away. Even looking into the whole thing of like having Bruce stuck in that physical maze for like fucking like a week straight with no fucking food, water, or sleep, to where he actually had to like use one of the owls to actually like fucking escape, like I think forcing it to fucking explode and then using it to escape. Like all that's wonderful shit that was in the comic, but it's not there in this TV show anymore. So, or at least like in this animated film anymore. So that is something that I am a little bit sad about. But until then, that is what I have to say about that. Please tell me what you think about this down in the comment section. I'll catch you on the next John Graves show. Please keep watching anime, keep playing video games. I'm out.